Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. It's good to have a return appearance from this group. We usually hear them on talking about pedal for the cause, but we're going to chat about other things that the group is Curebound. And we got the CEO of Ann Marbarger in the studio. And Ann, as I was pointing out, a great article in today's Union Tribune about all the great work you do.
It's great to see. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course it is. Absolutely. Joined by my co-host, Ian Solomon. He is a senior at San Diego State, majoring in leadership studies, and he's got a question for you right out of the gate.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the mission of Curebound.
Our mission is to mobilize San Diego to accelerate cures for cancer in our lifetime. And we see that San Diego has really all the core elements needed to change how we experience cancer, how we detect it, how we treat it, how we go on and thrive after it. And so we've built Curebound as a nonprofit hub and connector here that connects with across the entire community, creates belonging for anyone touched by cancer so they can be part of the solution. And for us, the scientific solution is investing philanthropic funding and collaborative grants across the entire community. So that's how we get to mobilize.
So what got you into this? Did you have a background in science, or somebody that is probably not a person on the face of the planet that doesn't know someone that's been impacted by some type of cancer? What got you into this?
Growing up, my dad was a heart surgeon, and I always thought I would go into medicine. And I watched him operate and got a little bit lightheaded. And so sort of changed my pathway. Around the same time, 9/11 happened my freshman year. And so I became super interested in international affairs, wrote a thesis on counterterrorism, and spent 10 years in Washington, D.C. before this. I was an intelligence analyst doing counterterrorist financing.
Wow.
Got really into triathlon and teaching spin classes on the side, and then was in the consulting world. And through those 10 years in D.C., I met incredible people, and I learned a ton, but I was trying to change foreign policy, trying to change the federal government. And it's hard to do that, and the pace of change is slow.
It's a battleship. Right.
So I wanted to do something that impacted the community, that impacted human health, and was an opportunity where I could really step up and grow my leadership capabilities. And so I learned about Pedal the Cause about 11 years ago. Because the founders I grew up across the street from them in St. Louis, and I called them for mentoring, and they said, come out here.
It's funny, my father, I might have mentioned this on previous interviews you've been on, and my father was a medical doctor and taught medicine at UCLA. So it's all about research, and we know research is not cheap, but that's how you're going to solve these problems and all this business. And people who understand that, why are we spending so much money on research? Because if you solve this aspect, you don't know if you're going to be able to solve this one, whether it's a neuroscience type of a deal or a neurological deal and all that business. And so, it's pretty hard to find someone that hasn't been touched by cancer at all. Do you know someone that's been impacted by cancer?
Yeah, my grandmother. Stomach cancer.
Yeah, exactly. So, but maybe you can tell our audience, talk a little bit about what was in the article in today's paper. What was that about?
Yeah, the exciting news for Curebound now is that we announced investment of $8.5 million into collaborative cancer research grants in San Diego. So that $8.5 million is funding 23 innovative cancer research teams across all of Curebound's sort of research portfolio. So we fund our biggest prize is called a Cure Prize. It's $1 million award to a team that has an innovation to improve the standard of care of a cancer that's typically fatal and to have patient application in 3 to 5 years. So we selected an incredible team looking at pancreatic cancer. We funded one early phase company, pre-Series A. They've got a new innovation technology they're trying to build a company around. We funded 3 equity grants, which are focused on overcoming disparities in research and care. And then we funded about 8 to 10 of our early phase research grants as well.
Now, the money that you folks are raising, and you talked about pancreatic cancer, but do you rock around all types of cancers? Do you do blood cancer, breast cancer, liver cancer, any type of cancer?
Yeah, and so Curebound doesn't dictate the cancer type.
Right.
We create opportunities to support different phases of investments, different phases of research through different grant tools, and so that scientists really get to form organic collaborations and apply to us. I mean, in retrospect, we've funded over 140 different collaborative research teams studying 25 different cancers. So we do end up funding a huge variety of different kinds of cancers, a ton of breast cancer, lung cancer, brain cancer. But we don't necessarily prescribe which ones that we're going to.
You know, one of the things that we've chatted about on the show before when we talk about pedal for the cause and all this business is you do a remarkable job, Curebound does, and also to the credit of our, the science community here. And as you mentioned, San Diego County is the poster child for such great research. Look at our universities, of course, and then, the institutes that we have here. But the collaborative nature is not always easy in this space. Whether it's competing for grant money or whatever the case may be, you guys find a way to get people to work together. Talk about that.
We do. It's pretty incredible, and I do think it's also very unique to San Diego. There are so many physician scientists in this community who have trained and spent time in other communities, and they say over and over and over again that collaboration like this doesn't happen in other communities. I don't think that there are cross-institutional incentives for collaboration. If you're a basic scientist, the incentives are getting funding for your research lab, getting your findings published. There aren't a lot of mechanisms that actually support and incentivize and encourage you to partner with someone across the street who might be working on something sort of similar to you. And so that's really how we started. We required scientists from different institutions, of course, that have different backgrounds and different technologies to partner together, and we gave them money. and that has been working.
Yeah, and I think, with all of this, it's not a 1 + 1 = 2. It's a 1 + 1 = 800 or whatever the case may be in this area. And how much attention do you attract with funders that are outside of our area? They see what you're doing, and now someone from Johns Hopkins, I'm making up stuff as I'm going along, of course, in this.
Yeah, we're starting to see that for sure. I mean, two ways. One of them is that, as you know, our community events have really grown. We've taken what was a concert at the Rady Shell with 5,000 people to an Elton John concert with 27,000 people. I mean, people did fly in from across the country to experience that, to support Curebound. We had someone from Orange County that night who gave $1 million. And so from an experience and community building perspective, we're creating belonging for anyone touched by cancer. People love to see collaboration. And so on the research side of things, you're also seeing that our collaborations are expanding beyond the region, and they're attracting scientists from other institutions. Talk about pancreatic cancer. I mean, when we announced a Cure Prize a year or two ago, the head scientist, Dr. Andy Lowy, who's incredible, said, I've already got $1.2 million from the Lustgarten Foundation to match this. They're based on the East Coast as well. So we are starting to expand beyond the region for sure.
We're chatting with Ann Marbarger. She is the CEO of Curebound. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in our community, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's the arts, it's financial literacy, and so forth. Just unbelievable partners Mission Fed has been. Anybody living in this region, joined by my co-host Ian Solomon. He is a senior at San Diego State, majoring in leadership studies, has done a great job. This is his third go-around as a co-host on our Spotlight on the Community Show. When we come back from break, Ian, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the events you do, and maybe a little more about the Elton John concert. I happen to enjoy that, Pedal for a Cause, as well. We always save time, of course, in the second half of the interview, or what can our listeners do? Certainly spread the word on Curebound, but I want you to think about, listen, not everyone has $1 million to donate, but $2 is fine. They just get you engaged when we return with Ann Marbarger, CEO of Curebound, right after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, You get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Just honored to have in the studio today on Marbarger, CEO of Curebound, featured in today's San Diego Union Tribune, joined by my co-host Ian Solomon, senior at San Diego State in Leadership Studies, and joining us later will be the senior associate producer of our Spotlight show and other Cloudcast Media entities, so to speak, and that's Brandon Joe, who will be graduating from UCSD coming up next spring on this. And we talked about not everyone has $1 million to donate and all that business, but it just get engaged. Donate whatever you can, volunteer whatever you can. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we have about 80,000 people who've supported Curebound. Wow. And so everything you just said, Drew, is 100% true. Support at every single level is really important. Not everyone can give $1 million, like you said, but everyone can believe in the hope of curing cancer and invest whatever they can at that moment to help support innovative, game-changing life science research that's happening right here.
Yeah, and one thing you guys are always laser-beamed on, and data is important. You're a data person, obviously, what you did in DC and so forth. And of course, the scientists are and the researchers are as well. And there's success stories of this research, the money we have done to fund X, Y, and Z. And we've seen this, through the years, and whatever the type of cancer it may be. We've certainly seen it with AIDS. When AIDS first came out, there's no, you got it, it's a death sentence. That's not the case anymore, right? In this area. Talk about with cancer and some of the great advances.
Yeah, I mean, I would also just start by talking about the complexity of cancer.
Right.
And it's over 200 diseases, and it's a long game from having a deep understanding of why a cancer occurs and what's going on biologically in your body, and then being able to create a medicine that can go into patients. And I think that's the thing that I hope listeners can understand and appreciate, that it not only does it take a long time to create a medicine, but it also costs a lot of money. And so all along that pathway, Curebound is investing in early phase research, brand new innovations, scientists understanding a different way to approach a cancer because of this cross-institutional collaboration. And we're giving them at first little bits of seed funding to explore that idea. When they get good data, they can reapply to us for more funding. Oftentimes, we'll see that we're sort of the catalyst for them to then go on and attract major funding from the NIH. One example is an incredible oncologist at Rady Children's Hospital, Dr. Paula Aristizabal. We gave her a pilot grant of about $125,000, and she attracted over $4 million from the NIH to expand her study within San Diego and to 3 other sites across the country. Anecdotes like that happen all the time. Another woman, Judy Varner at UCSD, got some funding from us to study lung cancer, and then got a few $1 million from NIH as well to expand it. And so we look to cultivate really incredible scientists and help them on the journey to eventually creating a medicine.
No, that sounds great. Brandon?
I'm curious because one of the big things that I've been reading about is CRISPR as a approach to handling cancer. And that technology, or at least some of the things that I read, is that it's able to handle some types of cancer in regards to letting our body identify the cancer, which is one of the problems of our body when the cancer is able to hide itself and it's able to grow and kind of be dormant in that way. And so I'm curious if there's been any innovation on that end of the spectrum, because I haven't read up on it since like maybe 4 months ago.
So I'm definitely not an expert in CRISPR. What I do know is that it's a gene editing technology. And so cancer impacts proteins and DNA. And sometimes there's a mutation that causes, I think, cell replication to go sort of like haywire. And so my understanding of CRISPR is that it can allow scientists to edit like a broken piece of DNA. So then I think preventing it from further replicating in a malignant way.
Gotcha.
How it does that, how it's advanced,
perhaps
is well beyond my comprehension. Yeah.
And then in that case, I'm curious, what is some of the technology, the actual technology that you are funding, or is it more medications? Is it more on radiology? Is it more on what are we looking at nowadays?
We are funding, all of the above. I think when we look at innovations in cancer research and care, generally there's a big field of immunotherapy. And immunotherapy isn't really applicable to all cancer types, but to the cancer types where an immunotherapy, which is a medicine, an agent that can unlock the immune system so that it can actually fight the cancer instead of being like hijacked by the cancer. So immunotherapy can work very well on melanoma, for example. And so there is a lot of research to understand how can we better use and leverage the field of immunotherapy to fight cancer. Another big body of research is around better screening and detection tools for cancer. So looking at liquid biopsy and blood and other markers circulating in your body as in early indicators of genetic mutation and cancer. So we funded a few like liquid biopsy and screening tools.
That's cool.
Those are probably the best examples.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Ian, question.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the most significant challenges that the people that you serve are facing.
Funding.
Yeah, so we serve scientists, and funding is a huge problem right now. This work costs a lot of money to fund a lab and to create medicines and get things approved by the FDA. And it's, scientists, PhDs, MDs have spent decades getting educated. They're so finely educated and such experts in their field. So it's such a shame that there's even questions around like whether they should be funded or not. Of course, I think about cancer patients and people that experience cancer and just how overwhelming that is. It's overwhelming to process emotionally. It's overwhelming to try and understand how to get information, to understand if you're not a scientist, what are my options? What do these test results mean? What should I do next? I think that's how Curebound tries to be a solution. We try and be a place where we can build community around anyone who's touched by cancer, just so people have comfort and connection. We do try and build connections across people in need. If you've just been diagnosed with lung cancer and you need a second opinion, we try and connect you with someone that we know at UCSC who's doing the leading clinical trials. And so I think we try and provide a gap or fill the gap for funding and be a source of knowledge and emotional support for people going through cancer.
So, how's the level of communication of let's say when someone, finds out that they have cancer? Are there ways, or is there anything in ways that you guys are involved of helping them better understand their situation?
I think that's pretty personal and individualized, and so. We're not established to function as a third party that intervenes around medical communication. I think what we try and be is a brand that's well known throughout the entire community, so that people can come to us sometimes with more information, or if they need more information. Obviously, there's others like American Cancer Society that provide some services. But yeah, I mean, we try and connect dots as best as we can.
I want to go back to something you talked about. Both of us come from families where our parents, dads were doctors, right? So we've grown up about the importance of research and, the amount of time it takes to fund something and the money it takes to fund it and so forth. And I just really want to make a comment about, it's not political, it's just the way it should be, is that, when you see funding cut from something that is in the right direction, they've spent years and they're just on the precipice of finding the next step on it, and then through no scientific reason whatsoever, cut is absolutely horrible. And I think there needs to be more advocacy for people, whether you're in the field of science or not. Just the fact, no, these guys know what they're doing. You got to believe in science. You should believe in science. And do you work with advocacy groups at all to push that out?
A little bit. I know the research institutions that we fund have their own advocacy arms as well, and they're following. I mean, there's so many emergent phone calls and meetings as earlier this year when the political environment was constantly changing. I think that we try and do the best we can to put more funding into research.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be political. It's not a political thing. It's a science thing. It's a health thing. It's a human thing in this aspect of it. That's why you really can't talk enough about all these things. And obviously my personal background is a big advocate of this type of stuff. And I don't think you can really talk enough about it. And I think it's important to get lay folks to say, no, listen, these folks are doing great work on the research of certain things, and they've been studying this for quite a while. This is not the type to cut the funding.
No, I mean, it's like a 1-2 punch, because the first punch is that these labs right now don't have money to operate. And the second punch is that what's going to happen to innovation and future discovery if early phase research right now dries up. I mean, it's pretty deflating and depressing. I'm an optimist. And so I think that we can, I heard someone say once at one of our recent events that Curebound needs to be the NIH of the West. Like, that's what we are. And I'm like, we can do that. California, San Diego can do that.
100%. And I think, to me, my view is this will pass, okay? And it will pass. But you need people to sit there and hang tough on these things. And we know it can be, you've been working on something for 10 years, you've been spending a hard time, and all of a sudden it's not there. This will change. And that's why I think it's so important to elevate what you folks are doing and let know that it has contributed. There is some data behind it and so forth in this area. So we're talking to Ann Marbarger. She is the CEO of Curebound. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, longest running community podcast in the nation at 20 years, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. What can our listeners do? What can we do to support you besides being an advocate for Curebound?
We have a matching campaign going on right now. It's the season of giving. If people in the audience are touched by cancer, they have friends and family who are touched by cancer, they can donate in their honor, and their donation will be matched. And we will put that forth in the spirit of gift giving as research investments to local people curing cancer in our community.
How do they get a hold of you? What's the
Curebound.org.
Very, very good. Ann Marbarger, congratulations. Great article in the Union Tribune today on what you folks have been funding and for quite a while. Great quotes by you in this aspect, even though you didn't realize when you had those quotes in it, but you did. It was great. And I think what you do is so good. We're looking forward to having you back on. Always a great time during Pedal for a Cause to shout that out as well. And just appreciate all the amazing, life-changing, impactful work you're doing.
Thank you very much. Great to be with you.
Yeah, it was great to be with you. Well, and Ian Solomon, thank you for another fine job co-hosting, a senior at San Diego State in Leadership Studies. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.